My name is Patrick E. McCarthy, and I got a question for you. Is your thinking, the way you think, is that causing you problems? What do I mean? Well, I'll throw it another way. Is the way that you're thinking again, the way you think, is that actually helping you or hurting you? And because a lot of people the reason why I'm talking about this today, and I talked about it a little in the last video I did as well for you guys, is that, guys, a lot of your thinking is just automatic. And you don't realize it, but I'm going to help you here today to realize this, that our thoughts impact our lives in meaningful ways. And I'm going to start right now with a story to prove it. Okay? Do you have a father? I think you do. Normally, maybe you don't know your father, but I knew my father. He was an alcoholic, and I had a difficult relationship with him. When I was a kid, I have 7 brothers, and I'm the fourth. And we lived on a farm, and my father was drinking. He was an alcoholic, like I've already said, but he would hide his alcohol. So you didn't see him drinking, but he looked like he was drunk. And for one reason or not, he didn't ask me ever to help him on the farm. He asked my other brothers, but he didn't ask me. And when I was a kid, I didn't like those dirty cows. So I was like, no, I don't want to go over there. So I stayed in, and yes, I helped my mom because she had 8 boys. So I had to help clean the house, help cook. But I was like, okay, I'll help with that. But as time continued, I started creating a belief that I had that my father doesn't want to work with me because my father doesn't really love me. And I kept that belief for a long time. And it was changing my life. And I didn't realize it. I'm going to give you some examples to help you grasp this. While I was thinking that my father didn't love me, I was also thinking that, goodness, all the guys, all the men in my neighborhood are all alcoholics. And before I know it, I didn't even like being seen as a man because I thought I was not proud of me because all that I saw around me. And I'm going to go a little further now. As I'm older, because I have an interest in psychology and I have a bachelor in psychology. And why I'm sharing that is because I did not know when I was younger, when I was in my teenage years, I did not know um, that I had an interest in psychology, but it started. I started to ask myself the question, and I was amazed that I had that question. Why does my father not love me? And then I had to get the answer. And then finally, I could not find the answer. So I was lucky. My father stopped drinking. Yeah, well, for my father to stop drinking, I was 15. We lost, we went bankrupt. We lost the farm, the 100 acres, the house. My mom had to leave with us boys, go back to her homestead to live there. And my father, he went into a rehab and stopped drinking. Well, a couple years later, I finally said, Dad, we were, we were, We were peeing in urinals in a restaurant, and I fired the question. And this is me, okay? And I'm just giving you an example, and take from this what you could actually do in your personal life. But what I did is I said, Dad, why did you not want to work with me on the farm? Now, you think that's just a very simple question, but that was a loaded question, because at the same time I was saying, Papa, why did you not love me? And Dad spontaneously said, well, Pat, your mother, I couldn't take all the boys with me, and you didn't even like working on the farm. So I said, I'll leave you to help with your mother. I would never ask you. And he said it so spontaneously and so just matter of fact. It came back. It came back to when I was a child. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. But what miraculously happened is that my belief that my father didn't love me, that was a half truth. That was not true at all. Sometimes my father was angry with me, but he was angry with my other brothers too. And most importantly, he was angry with himself. So, how often do we, from our perception, our viewpoint, make a judgment call? And that judgment becomes a belief. When I was a kid and I was watching my father, and he was never asking me to work with him, and my brothers were basically bullying me with that, you lazy fart, you never work with us, you do nothing with your life, we're the workers. It didn't help. It actually it basically put that idea more in my mind than ever. My father doesn't love me. But now I have hindsight, and I have wisdom. I have insight too that that was not true. So how often do we go around in life and we think, because of the perception we had as children or as young adults, so that person towards me is this way? And because we keep that viewpoint, it prevents us from showing our true self toward this person because we think we're not loved. Do you understand me? So, because I'll give another little thought. When I was young, and I think if you have siblings, you have brothers and sisters, you must feel the same way. Regardless of what has happened when I was a child, I could share, and I've often done it with my brothers. Hey, when Dad got drunk and he took the strap and he gave us all a strap, my take on that experience and my other brothers' take on that experience, totally different. Totally different. Because we are totally, let's use that totally again, unique. The way we think, the way we process information, our fears, what moves us, what scares us, we're unique. So you could be in the same family as your brothers, and you could be raised the same way, but is it the same way? Never. Because you have a perception that is unique to the experience that you may all be experiencing. So in reality, it makes Dad giving us a strap unique to each one of us. Okay, does that make sense to you? And it's just take my example and look in your own family and look how it plays out. you take anything that's happened to you as a child and you had siblings in there, ask how they experienced it. And you will be quite surprised that the way they processed that information was totally different than the way that you processed it. Okay? So, call to action. What do I want you to do now? Well, I want you to do two things. Hopefully this has had value for you. And what I'm trying to get at is, again, relationships, beliefs, the beliefs we have about people, about things. Let's not go on autopilot, because another one I could say, before I give you a call to action, I just thought of another one I could say, is when I was a child as well, often I heard relationships just don't last. Relationship. Now, if I heard it enough, it actually, it goes into my subconscious, and basically it plays out. Relationships just don't last. And again, guys, that is a perception and not a fact. It's a perception and not an automatic reality. It rains. That's a fact. It snows in Canada. That's a fact. Okay? People break up. That is, it happens, but it's not everybody. Do you get that? There's a difference. So what decides when one breaks up and one doesn't in relationships? Belief. Back to my father. I believed he didn't love me for many years. Do you think that didn't impact the way I acted towards my father? Or that didn't impact the way I am as a person, as a man? It did, big time. But when I finally resolved that, because I asked the question, I needed to know. So I asked, not with anger, with compassion, to understand. And goodness, the weight that was taken off my shoulders was insurmountable. It was incredible. It was worth the question. So, and back to my other example, when I was a kid, relationships don't work. If you have that belief too, change it, make it more empowering. If I work on my relationship, if we work on our relationship, it empowers our relationship. Ah, that's interesting. There you're starting where I'm going to go in these next videos. You're starting to take control of your thinking. And that is Patrick A. McCarthy. That is my way of thinking since I was a child. And my first experience is my problem with my father. So I had to start taking control of that thinking. So I'm going to stop right here. Back to the call to action. One, if this resonates with you, this video, well, then let's go. Subscribe, and you're going to be notified the next time I'm going to give out another video, and it's coming. It is soon. And number two, could you start to maybe take a sheet of paper and put down some thoughts you have about relationships with loved ones, like your father, your mother, and just start with your father, guys. Just start with your father. What do I think about my father in my relationship with me? And If he's still alive, you'd be amazed. You would truly be amazed if you took a question like I just did. Why did you not want to work with me? And you know that means that he didn't love you. That's how I felt. Okay, you could do very, uh, you could do the same thing. You could actually ask the real question, or you could ask another question that's related. Point is, start being aware of how you're thinking, because the day you decide to question your thinking, your beliefs, is a day you're taking back your life. And that is to be celebrated. So I'm going to stop here. I wish you all the best. I truly do. And I'll see you next time soon.